Happy Friday, Hornets. Well, when I say happy, it was eventful Friday, Hornets. Hope you're doing well. Welcome along to WD18, the Watford fan channel, with myself, Jacob Colshaw, Sam Yuko, Charlie Zazera. We're back talking Watford. We're back talking about an eventful Watford match because it did finish Watford 1, Burnley 2. Watford with 9 men by the end of the game. So there's a lot to break down. And really, when you look at Watford in the table, you're thinking there's nothing to play for. It's a free hit. It's a dead rubber. It was anything but that. So a lot to get into. Sam, I'm going to throw it over to you first. As always, brought to you in partnership with Harp to Your Mind. Shout out to the guys at the Mad Squirrel as well. Have you had one of these yet?
Ooh, I haven't had one of the wonderful kickoff beers from the Mad Squirrel yet. Nearly a terrible slip of the tongue there, Charlie. I saw your eyes light up. This is it's a partnership. The Mad Squirrel have managed to get over the line to release a limited edition beer ahead of the Mental Health World Cup on at the start of May, which is only a few weeks away now. And I believe that £1 from all proceeds are going to the charities, the 5 amazing charities that we're fundraising for. So if you are going past the Mad Squirrel, I think you could order them online as well. I'm not 100% sure, so double check the website. Make sure to order them, and not only will you be helping out a good cause, but you will be drinking the best beer in Watford and a beer with our logo on it, which is a bit surreal to say as well, isn't it?
It is a bit surreal. I went into the Mad Squirrel last Friday. Last Friday. I went in, and to see the cans in the fridge was quite surreal with our logo on it. And obviously, 18 over, please drink responsibly. I was thinking to myself, even if it tasted bad, I'm probably obliged to say it tastes good, but it did genuinely taste very, very nice, and I highly recommend. And I've heard that once it's sold out, that's it. So I think what's in the fridge at the moment, bar obviously what happens on the Men's Health World Cup down the 10th of May, Saturday, 10th of May, get it in the diary. That will be it. Charlie, are you getting down?
I'm going to get on the phone to Mad Squirrel. If it sells out, order it again. We need some more. No, I'm looking forward to having a couple of cans of that at some point. Well, I'm going to Blackburn away and then Sheffield Wednesday. Looking forward to seeing you guys. I think we'd go Mad Squirrel again, aren't we? So end of the season. I haven't been to a game in a while, it feels. So yeah, ending with those two. So yeah, looking forward to seeing you guys, and yeah, looking forward to talking about an interesting game today.
Have you been, Charlie, by the way? Just a shout out to Adam. Hey lads, what a crazy game. Beers are bloody brilliant. Much love from down under. Is that good morning, Sam? You probably know best.
Adam, great guy. I mean, it feels like an absolute lifetime ago now that we had Luton away. Obviously, we've all wanted to forget that game, but I was lucky enough to watch the game in Australia, which it is morning at the moment. It's Saturday morning, I think, with Adam back in October, which was a great day out. So hope, Adam, you are all good, mate, and all of you at the Hornets Down Under as well.
What's new in the life of Charlie Zazera?
Not a lot. Busy. Looking forward to the season unwinding. Nice. But question to quickly go into it. I know we're going to go through like the formal stuff, but Sam, where was your head situated at about 4:15 today?
Well, on Mars would be the easiest answer.
Definitely not in WD18.
No, but it's actually even beyond Mars. I'm not sure where's next on the solar system.
Neptune.
So maybe Neptune. It could be. I'm not sure. Let us know in the comments. Could do astrology lessons next here on the channel. That could be our next
top 3 planets.
Top 3 planets. Blind ranking planets. God.
Apparently the order is Saturn, Mars, Mercury, and then Neptune.
Uranus has got to be up there.
I'll shout from a Jupiter fan as well.
I was frustrated because there was a few reasons in it. I think firstly I have to say that you said at the start, but even though it's the end of the season, just saying Jupiter is the best on the screen here from Charlotte. God. That even though it's the end of the season, we could very easily have been here talking about quite nothing game. I think most of us expected Burnley to win, probably with a bit of a functional 1-0 win. I thought Watford were competitive really, really good, really positive with the display. Didn't sit back against one of the best teams in the league, and really, really went for it, which I thought was amazing. I did think, and we'll come on to the red cards. I thought they were both red cards. I can see why. Tom Cleverley also, I think, said that there were no complaints as well. I do think the ref completely lost control of the game. I think it was Vic Bait, who's a great account on Twitter, said there were 0 yellow cards up until the 60th minute. Between 60 and 90 minutes, 11 were handed out. Now, whether you agree or not, whether they're red cards, that is the definition of losing control of a game of football. And yeah, it was frustrating in that sense, but also have got pride for the way that the team performed today.
Should we start with the red cards, actually? Because you brought up the quote there, Sam, from Tom Cleverley. I'm just going to get it on screen there if you can see that. He spoke to the club after the game and said there'll be no complaints from us about the 2 red cards for Moussa Sissoko, captain, and Edu Kiembe as well. So I'll throw this one over to Charlie. As someone who wasn't there and watched it in real time from afar, you take the emotion out of it. Were they red cards? And do you agree with Cleves?
Really tough one, because Sissoko gets booked after they score their second goal and he's running back, and I think he gets booked for dissent. We don't know what he said. We don't know how aggressive he was or how much abuse he gave. And then after that, Fleming kind of bumped in, antagonised him, and it was pretty similar to what we saw against Norwich with Vacuum who also let the team down that day. Look, I just want to see a more experienced ref go, guys, stop it, because I just thought he ruined a really, really, really good game where, like Sam said, we were competitive and probably the best first half that I've seen from Watford this season. And it was just a proper game of football. And I would have just liked to see the ref there. And on the commentary, Sam Parkin was there. He does YouTube with Ben Bloom, who's really good. And I really like him. And he was like, yeah, the ref should have just diffused the situation. He kind of, once he opened that can of worms, I do think our players reacted badly, especially Kayembe. You can see all of us kind of going into tackles, and that led to Kayembe's red card. So I've got to, like, I'm a bit torn, to be honest. Like, Sissoko obviously shouldn't do that. It's not a shove in the face. I've got a screen grab showing Fleming on the floor holding his face. They're very championship experience, Cullen in the middle, Brownhill, even Fleming compared to our lot. So, yeah, they're a lot more savvy than we were. But, yeah, frustrated, but I don't think the ref was great. And I've seen Burnley accounts say exactly the same. So, I'm not totally angry with the ref, but in the same breath, like, I'm more angry, I think, at Kayembe than I am Sissoko.
I mean, both of them have happened so quickly. Sissoko's one, as Charlie said, was 30 seconds from the first yellow to being sent off, which might be a Watford record. And Kiembe picked up his first yellow card on 66 minutes. He's off by 69 minutes. Loser then got booked after that as well. I mean, look, from my perspective, Sam, the first one, I mean, the referee is entitled to give a yellow card if Sissoko's giving him dissent, which it did look like he was. I think if I was sort of predicting what was said, I think it was how long the celebrations were from Burnley, and Sissoko was getting annoyed at the fact that they were really milking celebrations and it was taking quite a while for them to get back into their own half, and I think Sissoko wanted to restart. He was then having to go at the referee. Then, I mean, what then has happened for the second yellow, as Charlie said, where Fleming goes into him? I mean, look, whatever you say, Fleming has bought a yellow card there. Absolutely. I mean, Sissoko's fell for it. I'd expect a lot better from our captain, as someone who's leading by example. He shouldn't rise to it. His head had clearly gone off to speak to the referee. And then the second yellow, look, as you said, Charlie, I think the referee has to look at the context of that and gone, you look, he doesn't need to send him off for that. But when you watch it, you just think, why? I think Sissoko started to go into their half right at the kickoff. Fleming sort of pushed him back, and then Sissoko's retaliated. But it's not in the face. It's in the chest. I don't think it is a red card, but I'm more annoyed at Sissoko for buying that and actually also setting quite a bad example there. And then the second one, Sam, Kiembe, he got the first one. The second one, I thought that was soft. The second one, That doesn't look great on the screen, mind you.
No, that's a straight red card there.
Yeah. No, Jacob, I said the same thing. When I watched it, I was like, that's soft in real time. And I think it was, but the temperature of the game, like our boys are flying into tackles. And again, I just think Kayembe, don't put your arm up. And at that point, the ref was, it felt like the bottle had opened and it was all flowing. The cards were flowing, more cards than Clinton's, this ref. But yeah, like I think that's the best point. And I think Charlotte's had a really, really good comment there because it was kind of visible to see all of our players were kind of really, really fuming. And the one player who was trying to diffuse the situation was Matty Pollock. And even kind of Imran Loser and Pollock was getting them all away from him. And I thought, yeah, I think that showed great kind of maturity from Matty there.
Very good point. There was one comment here, Sam, just on the football getting to the match properly. Stuart says, Sissoko and Kayembe getting a one-game ban gives younger guys a chance and forces Clevs into the change. Not a bad thing now the season is a dead rubber. And I think that actually kind of segues nicely onto sort of the lineup we saw today from Watford. If I share my screen here and just get it up very quickly. There we go. We'll get this up. So basically it was, the lineup had a few interesting players in it, Sam. So Selvig in goal, back four of Ngakia, Pollock, Bankwell, Wiley, which has become pretty much the regular back five in the second half of the season. Loser, as usual, Duomo coming in, Vata back starting, and then Kayembe Sissoko, who played for us for an hour, and then Dumbia leading the line. So Sam, seeing that lineup, Duomo and Vata in the headlines, pretty interesting call from Clevs, and good to see those guys back as well.
Yeah, definitely. I think Duomo was absolutely excellent today. Really, really good. Obviously struggled a little bit when we had 9 men on the pitch, as you would. I don't think he would have expected to play the full game today, which I think he did end up playing as well, but needs must when, 2 silly decisions by more experienced players in the squad. So he was really impressive today. Vata with a brilliant assist as well in the first half for Dumbia. So both of those definitely justified why Tom Cleverley picked them. But I think all round today, it was an interesting tweet that I saw. We put a graphic up online as well about an hour ago. That Tom Cleverley in that first half coached us to a 3-0 win. And I think that the team selection was partly down to that. I think we absolutely nailed it. I think we looked the most balanced that we've been in a long time with that lineup. I think, again, the one thing that I'll say about this Watford team is we're really, really lacking some pace, particularly when outside of Rocco Vata and Ryan Andrews, when he's on the pitch, there isn't too much pace within that team. But I thought we looked really balanced and really well set up. So, yeah, I think Cleverley got the starting 11 spot on today.
I like the look of Duomo, Charlie. I really do. I think he's got a lot about him. And for a young guy, how old is he? 21? I'm 23.
He's 20.
20. Wow. Okay. He's played a lot of football for a 20-year-old. He's had his injury problems this year, a bit out of his hands. He had that strapping on his leg today, didn't he, as well? I think back to Sheffield Wednesday away. I thought he played well at Swansea away. Looked really good today. And then it begs the question, if Loser does go, does he become the man? But then you look at that left side, really. They haven't played together this season, Charlie, in Wiley, Duomo and Vata. I say left side, but left-sided central midfielder. But that's got the makings of all those 3 players will be here next season, I think.
Yeah, I thought all of those 3 players were excellent. Like you said, Duomo, I really like his technique. He kind of puts his studs on the ball when he looks to control it.
Yeah.
It's quite unorthodox. He played like a really nice through ball to Dumbia, who didn't really anticipate it. But if he was sharper, he could have got in. Caleb Wiley, he's the truth. I am so surprised by how good he's been. I know Chelsea get a lot of stick, but I think he is a real talent. I think I saw Pochettino was there today at the Vic, watching him. It's going to be interesting, the interest he gets ahead of next summer for US at the World Cup. And Rocco Veta, who I thought played the best he has in ages, but not necessarily for his on-the-ball stuff. I thought out of possession against the Burnley side, he was outstanding. The way him and Wiley doubled up, especially dealing with Marcus Edwards, is a tricky character. And it was actually quite a really interesting game tactically. I thought Burnley, they were looking to kind of pull around our back four. Loads of switches to play to kind of move us in third man runs to get kind of Brownhill and kind of really try and displace our centre backs. And I can show you for the second goal they did that effectively. But I thought that three were great. Wiley, Rocco Vata, just his out of possession work, his positioning, something that I think Cleverley's mentioned earlier in the season, but putting in that performance and being focused the whole game, I thought that was really impressive. So, yeah, and what is Rocco's birthday? Happy birthday, Rocco. Is he 20 today? So, yeah, loads of young guys and should only get better.
I know. I really like the look of that left side. Sam, I'm quite confident Wiley will be here next season. I'm pretty confident because I think he hasn't played a lot of football since he joined Chelsea. Obviously, went on loan to Strasbourg. Didn't really work out. He was injured. We got him when he was injured. You've kind of heard whispers when you see online about whether he's going to come back. I saw a few Watford fans talking about it. It just feels like it makes a lot of sense to why we actually took him on loan in the first place. Because why would we take him on loan midway through the season if there wasn't this sort of option to bring him back again? It doesn't really make any sense to take an injured player. Because I remember we were sat here on this channel at the time being like, why are we taking an injured player? So
yeah.
Do you think there's more in it for him at Watford?
Yeah, definitely. I don't think it would have made sense at all, particularly because I think around the time he signed, there were actually some whispers going around as well. We were looking to make Laroussi's loan permanent as well. So I think the fact that Laroussi's sort of being phased out now for Wiley is quite telling that we'll get Wiley back instead of Laroussi, if not potentially both. I suppose we'll see in the summer. But yeah, I've been really, really impressed with him. Pleasantly surprised because I think he obviously he came in injured, which is always a bit, which wasn't great. And then I remember when he was first fit, there was some very interesting comments from Cleverley saying that he wasn't ready to understand the arts of the Championship yet. It was something like that, or he needed to acclimatise to the league, and that was quite rare for a manager to say. Which I thought was a little bit alarming. Maybe he was seeing something in training. Then it was his debut against Millwall, I think, when I said I thought it was a little bit slow out to the cross that led to the winner. But ever since then, it's literally been purely upwards. Game by game, he's getting better and better. What I quite like about him is over the last few years in that left back position, I think we've had players who are almost either really good going forward, not the best defensively, or good defensively and not good going forward. With Wiley, I actually feel like we've got quite a nice balance with it in terms of him going forward and defensively as well. There was a really good ball in. I can't remember if if Vata played it through to Wiley and Wiley crossed it for Kayembe, who probably should have done a bit better with the header actually. But it was a really nicely worked move, and that relationship on the left hand side with Vata is growing really well, and hopefully we see it here next season.
Should we talk about that start, Charlie? Because I'd go as far to say, I'm happy to say it, I think that's Watford's best half of the season. Genuinely, I think when I think of the quality of the opposition, the fact, actually, I think it's even more impressive that we didn't have anything to play for, because sure, it's easy to get up for games when, let's say we were pushing for playoffs. Watford have absolutely nothing to play for apart from pride and also obviously bettering the tally from last season, which we've already done. But that's what the message will be from Cleverley, and probably playing for your place next season. But Burnley are going to get promoted. They probably are going to win the league. We've come up against a team that are going to be in the Premier League next season, and we have been really, really good in that 45 minutes. Firstly, do you agree with that? And number two, what did you like about the first half performance?
Yeah, totally agree with that. I do think Leeds are by far the best team that I've seen this season. They ripped us to shreds in their quality. But when you look at Burnley's first goal, I thought that was a Premier League goal, and I can talk you through it. But in terms of what Watford did, I thought the way I don't want to compare a Watford game to Arsenal versus Real Madrid, but how Tom Cleverley set up with kind of 4-4-2 out of possession is very similar to what Arsenal do in the big games. And Burnley, we did really well to contain them, and they didn't get really any really good clear-cut chances. I think there was one in the first half. Selvik came out quickly and made a good save on Fleming, but I thought we were really nice, kind of compact, and we were really kind of measured out possession. And then when we won the ball back, we were smart, we were direct. I think same with the West Brom game, and I don't know if it's because we're the ones with less possession, but I'm loving how direct we are. We're getting long balls quickly up top, and when we've got Doumbia a bit of pace, and especially people like Wiley and Vata, I'm loving how we can turn kind of defence from attack really, really quickly. And then like the start was it was a perfect start after Dumbia headed in with a great header after 8 minutes. But did you guys think that was like in the ground? What was the atmosphere like from the start? Watford had gone, Sam, and especially towards Dumbia's goal?
Yeah, I just thought we've seen so many times this season slow starts from Watford and going 1-0 down. And I do think at times it's partly psychologically just almost been down waiting for the opposition to come onto us before we then. We're often, I feel like we're quite reactive in games rather than proactive. But this time, I felt like we set up so well to be aggressive, to be on the front foot against Burnley. And like you said, Charlie, it would be really easy just to be at this stage in the season, sit back and almost be on the beach and go through the motions for these last 3 or 4 games. But I thought against one of the best teams in the league, arguably along with Leeds, that they'll go for the league title, going toe to toe with them, I think is a real clear indication that this team have come so far under Tom Cleverley. And I'll say it again, even though the points tally has dropped off a cliff since December, I think that's 2 wins in our last 10 or something like that. The performances, though, are the best they've been this season on a consistent basis. And I think the building blocks are there if we can invest well in the summer for hopefully an even better year next year.
No, I agree. It's weird, actually, because just on that tweet we saw earlier, Laporza, I think it was, said Tom Cleverley coached a 3-0 that half. Watford, please stick with him and you'll be in the Prem very, very soon. I mean, look, the ceiling with Tom Cleverley at Watford is basically down to the current ownership, so we'll see how that goes. But we all know he's got the ability, I think, to take this Watford team forward. But I have to say, lads, I was really enjoyed the first half. I was sat there going, this is some really good stuff against a great Burnley team in the Championship this season. You know, a lot of like Championship stalwarts as well. Let's be honest, like Zian Fleming's been around for a long time. Jadon Anthony, Josh Cullen, Brownhill. You know, Edwards was playing Champions League football how long ago for Sporting Lisbon. Hannibal. There's some really good players in there. And I just thought I was really impressed with the intensity of the game, to be honest, lads. Like, as I said, there wasn't a lot for us to play for. And whilst the momentum bar has a couple of spikes for us, we got the goal through Dumbia, a brilliant cross, by the way, from Vata to the back post. Dumbia with the header. He's someone who I like the look of as well. I think Dumbia is one of those, he's raw, but there's a lot to work with him because, look, Vata, as Charlie says, I'm happy to take it over, Charlie, if you want, but Vata picked up on the left-hand side. Wiley, who's if you look at his position there, has created the space with how high his run is, which has allowed Vata to cross the ball in. And if you actually look at Dumbia, is that Pollock at the back post? Dumbia's on the left back, Perez. And actually, he follows his run. It's such a great ball. It's asking to be headed in, really, by Dumbia. But Charlie, I'll let you take it from here because it's just a really well-worked bit of football and a nice header from Dumbia.
Yeah, and a bit more praise for Rocco Vata. His crossing's really great. Left foot and right foot, something that I haven't seen at Watford in quite a few years, but we've seen a lot of dribbly wingers try and get to the byline, but he's not afraid to put a cross in. This ball is excellent, but like you said, Jacob, I just like Dumbia's movement here. He's not kind of on the last line of defence. He's running onto it so that he can meet it, and he meets it perfectly. And I think what I really liked about it is kind of how he heads it down, which makes it so hard for Trafford. And to be fair to Trafford, he did almost save it. But yeah, Dumbia, I thought, again, just gets better and better. I think his intelligence and his hold-up play for a player of his age is superb. I think his left foot, his control, and yeah, really exciting that we've got this kid who I think is going to go on to be a massive player. And I think hopefully next year we're going to go on and he's going to be, we've all said it about Watford, the conveyor boat, the Richarlison, Jajal Pedros, your Esprias, but Dumbia doing this at 19 is really, really exciting. And I think he could be a big player in African football because what he's done and the grounding he's going to get playing in the Championship is superb. And just going on for that first half while we're there and we talked about it, how good we were and the chances we creating. Wiley gets to the byline after a really nice 1-2 from Rocco Vata, puts in a great ball. And this one, I just think the ball was in pretty quickly and Kayembe was maybe a bit under it, which is why I went over, but it's still quite a good chance. And yeah, I just thought first half we were really good, which kind of leads to this Edo Kayembe thunderbuster, which we're all used to now. But I don't know how that looked in the ground, but it's an unbelievable save. Like if you watch it in slow motion, to get the contact that he gets on it, it doesn't skim his fingertips. He shifts it a yard to hit the post. James Trafford is a sensational goalkeeper. What was it like watching that in the ground? And Edo Kayembe he's been pinging him in from range recently, hasn't he?
Yeah, 3 in a row. It was wow. I didn't realise in the ground that he'd actually saved it. I thought it was just I thought the ball had just literally moved at the last minute, and it was an unbelievable save. Trafford was excellent today throughout the game. Made a few amazing saves. One at the end as well from Ryan Andrews, which was a bit more of an unconventional one, but still kept it out the net nonetheless. But yeah, he's a cut above any goalkeeper in the Championship, I think. I don't think he'll be at Burnley next season anyway. I think the rumour is he's going to go and replace Nick Pope at Newcastle, so he could be playing Champions League football in a few months, which says it all, really.
Yeah, I mean, firstly, Kayembe, underrated aspect of that guy is he has a great left foot, because that is one of the sweetest strikes of the season and deserved more.
He's going to score from the halfway line at some point. We had last season. We had a couple of near misses. He tried one again today, didn't he? I don't mind it.
So someone needs to make an Edo Kayembe miss compilation. His best misses.
honestly, that guy's probably got the best miss compilation of all time. But then that showed the quality difference, I think, was the fact that they've gone up the other ends and scored, as you said, Charlie, a Premier League worthy goal. I mean, it is literally from that break that they've gone on and scored, which is just ridiculous. Charlie talks through it. Where could we have done anything about it, or to sometimes just have to hold your hands up and go, "That's a great goal."
Yeah, only one thing I think we could have done better, but this really felt like we were playing in the Premier League again. And you know when you do loads of good stuff in the game and you miss a big opportunity, and they go up and score, and that's exactly what happened. What I was telling you about earlier about how they were switching the play to Edwards and Anthony all game. That's how this goal came about. Egan Riley with a lovely switch to Jadon Anthony, who I thought was brilliant. I thought he was really lively. I thought he was probably one of their best players. With this goal, I just think Ngakia was pretty rash. Normally, that's one of his strengths, 1v1 defending, and he steamed in, and Anthony was just too good for him. Bought the yard, and just like Rocco Vata, Anthony puts this ball in, and look where Zion Fleming is here. He is right here anticipating it, and I just think this is like an indefendable pass. It's just right on the money in between Wiley and a Banquet, just over a Banquet's head, and Fleming's running onto it. He just needs a half decent contact, and I just thought that was a Premier League quality goal. I thought, apart from Jeremy Ngakia doing better in the 1v1, I thought fair play to that. That's a great goal, and Jadon Anthony, that cross was superb. Just as good as Rocco Vata's.
Yeah, I mean, really, really good goal. Sometimes you can sort of pick holes in goals like that. That was just, look, happens, doesn't it? Sometimes you have a worldy save at one end. I think there we go. James D, save of the season contender that stopped the goal of the season contender, which is true for Kayembe. One thing we didn't mention actually for the Watford goal, Dumbia's celebration, I thought was really interesting, and I kind of worked it out because he went over to the bench, and initially I thought he was going to go to Cleverley Sam, and then he picked out Garrido. And having watched a few of the interviews this season, Cleverley mentioned that Garrido's in charge of the young players' development plans and how he developed some of the younger players. And clearly they've got a really good relationship. He's joined this season, so I thought that was a really nice touch for Dumbia, but and the coaching staff as well. And actually, just on a wider point. Firstly, very rare you see that from Watford players with the coaching staff in a long time under the Pozzos. I mean, for me, since probably like Zola and that time where you had that connection with the manager and Kike, I think of those, man, Javi as well. There's very, if you think about the amount of head coaches we've had, very few have had the same level of connection that Cleverley's got with the current group of players. But also a wider point about the Watford performance in the sense that look, we didn't lose today down to a lack of, again, as you've mentioned this season, Sam, a lack of trying, a lack of heart, a lack of desire, which you expect from your team. Sometimes it's just a gap in quality and in certain moments as well. But it does really feel like there's the foundations there for Watford to kick on. And I know we're going to talk about it. I know I'm getting on to transfers, but it does just feel like we are a couple of positions away from really being a good team in this division.
Yeah, you're spot on there. It is just, I think today confirms that we can't get playoffs anymore. So we will be in the Championship next season. The dream is over, lads, unfortunately. But it does sort of
refund on that hotel.
No Wembley weekend for us then.
Holiday and breakfast deal.
I still just sort of feel, and while I don't really want to be in the Premier League at the moment and don't really like the Premier League either, I don't think us having another year to develop is the worst thing in the world, to be honest with you, for the long term, for Cleverley as a coach as well. I mean, like you say, Jacob, the whole backroom staff, I think, have been great this season. I know there's been a lot of changes in there as well in terms of assistant managers coming in and now. We had Slav's assistant at the start of the season, didn't we?
Yeah.
Robbo had a change of role. We've now got Javi's old assistant back there as well. But sort of the Armand Cavaya left at the start of the season as well, didn't he? So I mean, sort of the mainstays of Damo and Garrido definitely have been good this season, and that celebration from Mama was definitely telling. The last time I can remember, at least, the players and the managers and everyone celebrating together was Adam Messina's last-minute goal at Cardiff with Cisco Munoz. But it'd be all right in terms of the foundations for next season. I mean, if you compare it to Easter Friday 2 years ago, where we had Huddersfield at home, we lost 3-2. Dan Backman got sent off that day for a kung fu kick or whatever. We had Britt Sombalonga up front. The performance was terrible. The attitude of the players was terrible, and I don't think any of the players out there today, or the ones at least that ended the game on the pitch, were culpable of that at all. And it's refreshing to see, because it's the minimum you ask for, that even if you're going to come out on the wrong end, if there's not in terms of the red cards aside, if there's a way to lose games, that was it from Watford today.
No, agreed. I guess the question is, when I'm talking about foundations, Charlie, and if I just get back on screen and sort of the team we're seeing here, because we will do more of like transfer content and squad building content when the season's over. We don't want to waste all of our pre-season content. But basically, when you look at sort of the spine of the team, I thought Selvik once again really showed his value for Watford's, and it's the little things that won't make the highlights real, but he made a couple of good he made some good saves. But actually, his calmness is such a big difference, and it rubs off on the two centre-backs. I honestly, it's hard to explain, I think. And if you're not watching Watford week in, week out, or if you don't go to games, like Batman, you did just feel on edge. Selvik, you really did just feel like he's got it under control. A Banquet loan, okay, so Selvik, Pollock, who'll be here next season. It does just feel like this man here, Imran Loser, is the one player I look at and go, he's going to be so difficult to replace, because whatever we say about Chatford Datsy, we've got Vata next in line, who's going to be given more opportunities. Whatever you say about the striker situation, we do need to bring another one in. Dumbia is clearly he can't do it on his own for the whole season, but he's going to be a good replacement for Bayer, who's going to be returning to Udinese. But Loser's the one player, and I'll throw this over to both of you lads, that I just worry about, because he offers us something that is going to be very, very difficult to replace.
Yeah, no, completely agree. Full circle with Imran Loser again for me. Every single week, feel like I'm saying it, but I do feel like it has slightly. His performances have sort of plateaued a bit in the last couple of weeks. That might not be a reflection on him. I just think generally the way that performances have sort of turned out, and maybe it's just because he's not standing out as much now, because I feel like the performance levels recently have stepped up generally. But absolutely excellent, and I think he's really found that role now, being the one who drops quite far deep to pick up the ball as well.
Agreed.
Jacob, just to give context on the game as well, can you go and show what our average age is, and then for above the pitch, and then the market value of the two teams? So
starting age for Watford is 23 and a half.
With a 35-year-old Musa Sissoko as well.
And Burnley is 25. And then if market value, Watford's, according to SofaScore, is 25.4 million euros. Burnley's is 116 million euros. The most expensive player on the pitch was Edwards for Burnley. Trafford, and then Edwards, and then Egan Riley as well. I mean, these are Premier League players, really. Yeah, I mean, it just to show the maximum that Cleverley's getting out of the team. So, Charlie, just to bring it back onto the match, we mentioned the title sort of lost control, and we talked about the referee, and we didn't disagree with the referee decision. Don't get me wrong, he had a shocker, by the way. I don't think we can, and that's saying something. When you get, let's be real, both of the red cards right, and yet you lose control of the game, and I think he deserved the. I don't want to give referees too much criticism, but the boos at the end, I think, said all you need to know about his performance. But actually, did Watford lose control? Because Bayo came on, he kicked out at someone, Sissoko lost his head, Kiembe lost his head, Loser was losing his head. And as you said, Pollock was having to calm everyone down. I mean, when Sissoko got sent off, I actually turned to Selvik and a banker, and they were just like looking at the sky like, what are we doing here, basically? Just throwing it away.
Yeah, and it's supposed to be the experienced players doing the opposite, but I feel like our younger players are the ones calming down, a bit more sensible. Like a Banquer weren't getting involved either, or Wiley. Maybe Dromo was steaming into a few tackles, but yeah, I do think like our senior players let us down today, which was a real shame. But I also thought for the second half, before their second goal, I felt we lost control of the control that we had in the first half, and I thought, they're creeping into this game, they're popping it about, and I just want to kind of show where I think there was kind of mistakes for their winner in the build-up. Again, Jadon Anthony, they kept on these triangles, again, similar to Arsenal with Odegaard, Ben White and Saka, but they kept these triangles and they kept having kind of third-man runners, and that's where Josh Brownhill came in and kind of disrupted our backline. And the problem with me with this backline is that no one passed on Brownhill. So kind of Duomo's half gone in with him. Either Pollock needs to go in on Brownhill and, well, no, to be honest, Pollock needs to stay with Fleming. And you can see here, Ngaki is looking over his shoulder because he knows Hannibal is over there. And I just think we lost our kind of way in our organisation, and a Banquer was kind of in no man's land, really. And he was just in space. He wasn't marking anything, and Duomo shouldn't be on this back line. To be fair, it was a really good ball by Roberts to the back post. And at this point, Ngakia didn't know whether to go with Fleming or stay with Hannibal. And kind of Fleming, he tries to go near Fleming, who kind of pushes him over, and Hannibal gets a really, really lucky touch. It was kind of a bad contact, and it just fell to Brownhill, who headed it in. So I just think that's one thing to be wary about. And my big fear going into the second half of the season and how Watford approach things with a back four, I just didn't think we were good enough to do it. But I do think on the whole we've been good, and I do think Abankwah looked really good again in terms of covering that ground. But when we kept playing against teams who are going to pull us about, we need to be savvy. We need to pass people on and protect the right space, because I think we just lost our way a bit there. That probably didn't help when Sissoko got sent off and it all was kind of kicking off. So, yeah, I just think we got a young team. That's something to remember. Yeah,
agreed. Discipline is something that we have to work on for next season.
Yeah.
That's been a bit too much of a theme this season, Sam. Especially yellow cards, I feel like it. And maybe if I'm just thinking about it now, I think there is an argument to say Cleverley should have read the room after the Kiembe one, because Sissoko one he has no control over. He couldn't do anything about that. But there was a 3-minute gap between the first one and the second one. And if anyone was at the ground today watching Kiembe, he was literally asking to be given a second yellow. He was running around like a headless chicken at times.
It's not a long time though, 3 minutes.
I know that's true. But I don't know just whether maybe now looking at it, maybe it's just me being a bit reactionary that I think could we have made those 3 subs that he made Bio, Ince, Andrews, brought on Shoutout to Deli Bashiru. Sam, what do you reckon?
Potentially, it's difficult to say because again, you do expect your experienced players to be the ones not running around like headless chickens, and yeah, I think it's purely on Kayembe here rather than Cleverley. But you're spot on with discipline this season because we've had 5 red cards, which is the second most in the league.
I was just checking that.
Yeah, but all five of those have been damaging to our season in different ways, and I don't think it's too big of a stretch. Well, it might be, but it's 5 red cards that have cost us results ultimately. I look back at Bar against Portsmouth, which was the first one. Obviously, it didn't cost us on the day, but we were then missing Bar for the following game, which I believe we lost at home to Cardiff, I think it was, and Bar would have definitely made a difference there. Again, it was funny, yes, but it was petty, and it was something that we definitely. I'm not sure if he regretted, but it was something that cost us in the following game. I look at Bio against Norwich. We've spoken about that. Stupid. Again, petty, not needed. Cost us the game that day. I look at James Abankwah away at Oxford, which I don't want to be too harsh on the Abankwah one because I feel like, again, that's one that just sort of happens in games. But in terms of just 2 tackles that are yellow cards, it's not necessarily his fault here, but that cost us against Oxford, I feel like. Then obviously today, petty, 2 experienced players that ultimately shouldn't have happened. So yeah, it's cost us not just today, but throughout the season, and it's something that Cleverley is going to have to address this summer because yeah, it's this Watford team loses heads quite easily every week. There's something that goes on, arguments and whatnot.
Yeah, after the Sissoko one, I think a lot of the players had lost their heads a little bit. I saw Dumbia leaving challenges on people. And look, there's a side to it you want to see as a fan because there's clearly quite a bit of unity in that team, in fairness. But at the same time, you just have to keep your head. It doesn't help when your captain goes off as well. But on that line, Watford, I thought Watford showed like it was a valiant effort with 9 men, right? And I think what Cleverley did really, really well. He identified that bringing Andrews on will give us a bit of pace down the right hand side. He had that effort. They went close. Incewood didn't really get into it. Bio wasn't in the game, and Shoutout and Deli Bashiru came on, and it was one of those. But I mean, look, it doesn't affect the long-term future of Watford by any stretch.
Do you not think we had chances when we went down to 9 men? There was a great ball in that if Bio has a better touch, he's literally 1-on-1. Who put that ball in?
Omo, great ball. Ball.
So yeah, and CJ Egan-Riley puts in a really, really great last-ditch tackle, but a better touch from Bio. He was just fumbling about with it, trying to control it. And then, yeah, Ryan Andrews had that great strike. And like you said, Jacob, that is not an easy one because it literally bounced kind of – that could either squirm under it or he can palm it back into the danger zone, but he managed to kind of tip it around the post. And you even saw Matty Pollock and Tom Cleverley was inspired by Man United's comeback with Matty Pollock going up top, putting in a lovely ball to the back post and even getting his header or something. So, do you know what I mean? To be down to 9 men, I thought we could have nicked a draw there. And how many times have we said we've only lost by 1 goal? And yeah, I think it was a valiant effort. Look, like they probably weren't in full gear, but I thought we stuck to task and we did all right with 9 men.
I believe, by the way, sorry, Jacob, we're only the second team after Norwich who have scored in both games against Burnley this season. Across 2 games. Yeah. So
I think since we've scored against them in November, they've conceded 4 or 5 championship goals since then.
It's crazy.
Obviously, with the comment, only Plymouth have had more red cards this season than Watford.
And Luton.
And Luton as well. So they're the 2 teams who have beaten us. 2 wins in 8. How are we feeling about Watford at the moment, lads? Just to finish off, there's 3 games left. For context, Watford are 4 points better off than they were at this stage last season. So last season we had 43 games played, 12 wins, 16 draws, 15 defeats. Watford at this stage, after 43 games, have 16 wins, 8 draws, 19 defeats. And it really does show the difference between Watford being in the playoff mix and not is actually converting a couple of those draws, or I say couple, a few more than couple, but though maybe 4 or 5 defeats into draws, which has ultimately meant we've fallen a little bit short. So last 3 games,
Jacob,
lads.
I want to hear it from you because me and Sam have spoke about and we talked about we feel like Watford have been better even though we're not getting the results. But
Yeah.
how are you feeling about Watford in terms of not necessarily this season, but state of play, summer coming up, going into next season? Because even I had I put a tweet out and I feel like Tom Cleverley is our biggest asset, bigger than any player. And if we keep hold of him, I feel like, and I tweeted it and I got a bit of stick from it, but I feel like something's happening here. Do you think that's the case, or have we got an Italian man upstairs who could get in the way of that?
I think I would say there's something happening at Watford if we get the summer recruitment right. Until I see that, I'm struggling to be. I'm struggling to think that we're building a project in inverted commas because of the man upstairs. If I'm honest, I think you're absolutely bang on that Cleverley's the biggest asset Watford have. I think some of these young players are really exciting, and Cleverley's the perfect man to develop them. I look at Wiley, Vata, Tuomo, who's going to be a big part of the season, Pollock, who's my age. I mean, Selvic's been a great signing. I just think again, we've said it so many times this season, but really how well Cleverley does this season is based on the recruitment that happens in the summer. Because he's done the best I think he can out of the group of players he's got. He's maximised every last drop out of them. 3 games to go. He'll be wanting to get a top half finish. The last thing you want is to sort of fizzle out and finish 14th. I think we've beaten last year's points tally, if I'm not mistaken.
We're level at the moment.
We're level.
Okay, so he'll be wanting to beat that. Portsmouth up next. We've got Sheffield Wednesday on the final day. Who's Blackburn away? Is it as well? Yeah. I don't know. Basically, in answer to your question, Charlie, I think it's been a really good season in the context of what's happened and the players and the squad we have and the average age of this Watford team. And no one, I think, beyond the wildest dreams thought we'd be in looking at the playoffs thinking we could potentially get it. But in order to build for next season, actually be in that conversation properly, because we flirted with it, didn't we? We have to recruit properly in the summer. End of story. Because if the squad stays as it is now, without some of the players like Loser, whatever we say about Chatford, that's being inconsistent. He's been a massive part of our season. And also Banquer, who's going to be probably returning to Udinese. That's 3 of your biggest players there who aren't going to be involved. So it depends if we bring someone else in if we want to kick on, for me. But I think if we can beat our points tally this season, let Clevy have a pre-season reset, and we'll see how we get on. But what I will say as well, in the context, I'm not taking anything away from this Watford team, but it hasn't been a great championship in terms of quality, is what I will say. I think last season was more competitive. So I guess there's a conversation about where would this team finish last season.
Yeah, I do think Cleverley would have also built up a lot of experience and his reputation again. So hopefully we might have a better chance of convincing players to come and play for him, knowing that we've had a head coach I don't want to jinx it. We've had a head coach for a full season. Surely we're not going to lose him by the end of it. But do you know what I mean? His first full season as a head coach, his experience in terms of kind of maybe the failures we had with Jefferson and how that works. So for me, with those young players, and yeah, if we can, I know this for a different video, me and Sam have had our take on it, but whether Loser goes or not, and if we keep Tom Cleverley in this group together, surely we're only going to go for next season. But like you said, the recruitment's going to be the difference to if we get playoffs or not.
Absolutely. Sam, final thoughts?
Yeah, no, I'm just I'm happy at the moment, as happy with what I'm seeing on the pitch, at least with Watford at the moment. And yeah, just looking ahead to the summer, like you say, it's all about that recruitment, and hopefully our ceiling isn't defined necessarily by by the ownership upstairs. But yeah, no, I'm looking forward to my last away day of the season on Monday as well, the new ground. It should be a tasty one. They battered Norwich today, 5-3, I think it finished, 5-2, 5-3. And yeah, obviously we all know what happened in that first game against them. There won't be obviously no bar, which is a bit of a shame, but yeah, should be a tasty one at Fratton Park on Monday.
Yeah, if I'm honest, I don't particularly fancy us.
No.
Portsmouth's home record is really good. It was actually their away form was terrible, like absolutely terrible away form. But at home at Fratton Park, it's been pretty tasty.
They're my dark horses next season.
Dark horses for staying up.
Going up next season.
We're going up.
Yeah.
You need to get some sleep. You need to get some sleep, Sam.
Great manager. Great manager down there. Really good manager.
We'll see how we get on. Bit of housekeeping to finish.
Sorry, just on Norwich, who are in a similar position to us as they normally are. They spent 31.9 million euros this season, and they got battered 5-3 today. So, and again, we all know that we've spent the least. So just that bit of extra context to show that Sir Cleverley is the man.
I agree. Backing Gino if you're watching, I'm sure you are. Just to wrap up, 4 goals so far in March. I say so far in March. It's April now. 4 goals in April.
Yep.
4 goals so far.
We're doing to the end of the season. So how many games you got left? 3 more games.
3 more games. That's
and Watford score more than 1 goal in a game. That's what we want to see.
That's a great shout. I mean, £4 for our Hearts Mind campaign. Just finally, Mental Health World Cup update. You're probably sick of me going on about it, but 10th of May, Saturday, 10th of May, there are tickets available. If you're not playing and would like to come along, we'd love to see you there. All the funds go to 5 amazing charities. We've got an auction live. If you're actually playing in the tournament, you can auction to play with Marvin Sordell, Tommy Smith, legends on your team. And then obviously, as we mentioned, just to wrap up, if you get yourself down to the Mad Squirrel, which is just how far is it, Sam? 7-minute walk from Vicarage Road?
7-minute walk from Vicarage Road.
You can get one of these, which is in the fridge. So thank you so much for watching. I know it's a later stream. You're probably thinking this is probably better than a glass of hot milk to send you away, but hopefully I hope you had a good one. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your Easter. I know we're back in action on Monday away at Portsmouth. Charlie, Sam, anything else you want to mention before we go? Or anything I missed?
Should we all score predictions?
Score predictions. 2-1 Portsmouth.
Yeah. I'll go 3-1 Portsmouth.
I'm going to go 3-3. 3-3 with old Bonner getting an equaliser at the death.
Old Bonner?
We ain't got anyone else to get him up top.
Oh my God. Charlotte, you're an absolute diamond. Great to have the dream team back together for Reactions podcast. If you want to see one after Portsmouth, leave a like on the video. If we can get to, how many likes should we say, lads? And we'll do a Portsmouth one on Tuesday.
Didn't realise we were now starting to
Wait, you said at this point of the season, Sam, that well, we don't know like for today, there were so many talking points. At this point of the season is normally really, really flat, and actually there was a lot to talk about at Watford. With Portsmouth, we'll see, shall we? We'll see.
We'll see. Yeah, we won't lie to our loyal viewers. We did consider. We were like, this stage of the season, should we just do a review of the Easter weekend? But I think after the game today, we were like, yeah, we have to get into this, shouldn't we?
We have to jump on. Do people care about what we have to say? I mean, that's the big question. Thanks so much, guys. Take care of yourselves. Have a great rest of your weekend. Just the start of the weekend, isn't it? And we will see you in the next one. Take care and up the Hornets. You want?